this evening, which is why understanding 9/11 is crucial to our future. I'm going to be referencing some of the photographs that have just been released by the New York Police Department, helicopters that were flying on 9/11 that day, and some of the tragic things that happened and horrific events of that day. And we're here today to rediscover the events of 9/11 in a whole new light, hopefully for some people. Others may have already caught on to what this, the focus of the presentation is about, but we're assuming that people are starting from fresh and want to know what about 9/11 is it that we need to know that we didn't know already. That's at least according to the official story. So I'm going to be referencing Global Outlook issue 13 quite a bit in the presentation. And for those of you who don't know about Global Outlook, and specifically the latest issue 13 came out this summer, and it has been sold right around the world. Every member of Congress received a copy. Every member of Parliament received a copy. Thank you. So, it's out there. And it's 296 pages of jam-packed information, kind of a summary of what Global Outlook has been all about over the last 7 years, 8 years, since we started publishing in 2002. This evening we're going to look at the big question, why understanding 9/11 is crucial to our future, and I'm going to be talking about this in 3 different parts. We'll look at 26 major anomalies that plague the official story of what the government said happened on 9/11. We'll examine a lot of evidence that's been ignored by the White House, that is the Bush White House, and even the Obama White House, the 9/11 Commission, and the mainstream media. So that'll be in the 26 major anomalies. Next, we'll be looking at 10 similar events that could have changed history and did, and may have acted as precedents for 9/11. Then we'll discuss the question why understanding 9/11 is crucial to our future. So let's start by examining the official story of 9/11, and here is a concise summary. Can you read that? Okay? What we want to do is basically see what the government told us, and we're going to pick it apart. So we'll just read it together. 19 Muslim Arab fanatics who were funded and trained by Al-Qaeda and directed by Osama bin Laden from a cave in Afghanistan hijacked 4 commercial airliners with knives and box cutters on September 11, 2001. They took the North American Air Defense Command, or NORAD, completely by surprise, flying 2 of them into the Twin Towers. As a result, World Trade Center Towers 1 and 2 collapsed within 2 hours of being hit in a pancake fashion due to structural failure caused by crashing planes and the ensuing fires. The 3rd plane hit the Pentagon and vaporized upon impact, as did the 4th plane that crashed into a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Later that day, Building 7 collapsed due to structural failure caused by falling debris and fires. The 9/11 Commission found that there were no prior warnings for this act of terrorism, and that the multiple U.S. government intelligence failures were to blame. So let's dissect the official story and see if it stands up to some of the other evidence that's been discovered about 9/11 since. Well, first of all, let's start off with the 19 Muslim Arab fanatics. Who were these guys? Well, devout Muslims intent on meeting their Maker and being rewarded for their good deeds with 72 virgins in heaven. Well, certainly not all of them, because several of them, including the ringleader, Mohammed Atta, reportedly frequented strip bars and paid for lap dances in the days and weeks leading up to 9/11. Hardly the behavior of devout Muslims. If you recall, the Bush administration said at first they had no idea who the attackers were. They'd been taken completely by surprise, but within 24 hours they had pinpointed all 19 suspects plus Osama bin Laden and broadcasted their pictures far and wide for everyone to see. That was pretty quick. when you think they had no idea who the culprits were in the first place, or did they? It turns out that these guys were being tracked by the FBI, the CIA, and military intelligence. If you Google Able Danger, you will find out all about that. Whistleblower Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer and others in the Pentagon's Able Danger team informed Congress or a congressional committee about that. But how many of us heard about that? And of the 19, 15 of them were known troublemakers who were deliberately allowed to enter the USA by the CIA, who were working at a US consulate in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. How can we tell? Michael J. Springman blew the whistle on the Visas for Terrorists program that let them in. After 9/11, he phoned the FBI over and over again, but to no avail, to tell them his side of the story. Mr. Springman's statements contradict the 9/11 Commission statement that the alleged hijackers, in quotes, received little or no assistance from the United States. That's on page 56 of their report. At least 5 of them may have trained at U.S. military bases, as reported in Newsweek, if you can believe Newsweek. The names of so-called hijackers never appeared on any passenger manifests that were released by the airline companies. Elias Davidson has written a paper on that. You can Google on the internet. And according to the British press, half a dozen of the alleged 9/11 suicide hijackers were still alive. That is, if you believe the BBC and The Guardian. How is that possible? And if they are still alive, why haven't U.S. officials removed their names from the list of 9/11 suspects? Now let's go to the next part of this official story. They were funded and trained by Al-Qaeda. If you do some digging around, you'll find out that one of the 9/11 money men was Lieutenant General Mahmoud Ahmed, who turns out was Pakistan's Director General of Intelligence. He orchestrated the transfer of $100,000 to ringleader Mohammed Atta just prior to September the 11th. What's interesting about this is, at the time of 9/11, Pakistan's military intelligence was pretty tight with the CIA. That's why he was visiting members of the Bush administration from September 4th to 13th, 2001, in Washington, when the attacks took place. If you don't think so, just ask Senator Bob Graham or Representative Porter Goss, chairman of the Senate and House Intelligence Committees back then, who were his hosts at a breakfast meeting on Capitol Hill the morning of the attacks.